Here with skateboarding icon Ryan Sheckler, for my generation, for anybody's generation. The new documentary Rolling Away comes out this summer. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh man, thanks for having me. Thanks for the intro too. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. And I say that across generations specifically because you were truly born into this. I mean, it's evident from the documentary trailer, and for anyone who's followed your career, you sort of come right from California right into this career. Do you think that you would have been, a passionate skater, a child skater, if you hadn't grown up where you grew up in California with all that access?
It's a good question, dude. It's a super good question, and I think about that a lot, dude. And I start thinking about like origin story, and like where my faith is, in God is just like, like there was a reason for sure that I was born where I was born and raised where I was raised. My parents my mom used to race, she was like a barrel racer on horses. And my dad did surf, skate, moto. So they were super active. And I think really no matter where I was born, I was going to do something active. But the fact that I was born and raised in San Clemente, California, southern OC, where it's like surf, skate community, I think it for sure helped, dude. Every single one of my neighbors that I grew up with skated and surfed, but skateboarding was so accessible. So for me, I'm 33 years old now. I started skating when I was 2. I really like started trying to get competitive just by nature. I didn't know I was being competitive. I just wanted to be like the big kids, and I wasn't scared of falling. I had already broke my elbow when I was like 5 years old skating. And I remember the doctor telling me like, you can still skate with this elbow cast. And I was like, okay, cool. Like that's totally fine. Then I can get hurt and still skate. Like I'm in. And from a very young age, I was never really, I never fed into the fear of getting hurt, and neither did my parents. My parents would let us like fall and get hurt, and they never overreacted. Of course they got us fixed and like showed us love, but it was never like an overreaction. And I think that too was a very big very big play in me skateboarding. But yeah, to answer your story, your question, like growing up in California definitely helped the cause for sure.
You bring up a really interesting point there too that I wanted to hit on because it is it's easy for a lay person like me. I have no skating skills. I can't do anything. But it's easy for me to say like it's a dangerous game, right? There are injuries that's a part of it. And
Yep.
you mentioned your parents were so willing while you were growing up to just kind of accept that. Have you skating now that you are a new father? Has that changed the way you worry about your own injuries? Are you willing to risk as much now as you would have been 10, 15 years ago?
The short answer, yeah, I still am willing to go for broke. It's calculated. It's a little bit more calculated now, for sure. It's actually been more calculated before I became a father, just because of the injuries that I have sustained. I've had to, by no means, like dumb my skating down, but I've had to look at it from kind of a different perspective, like really listening to my body. Like, okay, because normally I would go out and skate, and no matter how I was feeling, I would go for whatever, anyways. Now, if I go out and I didn't get a proper night of sleep, or I feel that I'm not hydrated, or my body's a little bit more sore than I'm used to, I'm probably not going to skate that obstacle that day. So I'll push it off to another time. So that alone, that kind of calculated approach to skateboarding now has definitely saved me a lot of injuries. But at the end of the day, I'm still trying things. Like once you see the video part, like this is a video part that's not like safe skateboarding. I'm not safe with it still. I don't know how to be safe. I don't know how to safe skate. I know how to be calculated. So, you know, even even the last trick of this part, like it took me realistically, it took me 3 years, a little bit over 60 attempts and 5 different trips to this spot. And Any outsider would be like, you're crazy and you shouldn't have done that. But for me, it wasn't crazy. It was a challenge. And I knew the risks, and the risks were severe. They could have been very, very bad. But they weren't, and so I'm okay with those decisions. And I have a very supportive wife who understands that this is my life, and that, like, if you take this away or you make me have to, like, dumb down my skating, like, I'm not going to be a very fun person to be around. So if this is just the nature of the beast, she knows what she signed up for. And by no means am I taking unnecessary risks, though. I want to be around for. I want to be around. Like, I want to be alive. I'm not crazy, but I enjoy. I enjoy the adrenaline rush of the unknown.
As you mentioned in the film, and as you mentioned just now, like there's sort of this one trick that this is hanging on, that you're just going relentless, and your career is based on, and this film is based on nailing it. I assume, like all other tricks and all other experiments, that there is a point when you sort of consider surrendering, and you at least consider giving up, and you have to fight that back a little bit. When you reach that point, how did you convince yourself to keep training instead?
I mean, that goes into life. That's not even skateboarding. I've been faced with a lot of adversity throughout my skateboarding career, which has been a blessing. Now, looking at it from a distance, while you're in it, while you're in any sort of like pushback, or people not agreeing with what you're doing, or definitely questioning everything that you're doing, and everyone has an opinion. And you feel that. I felt that for sure. But for me, I've always pushed through that. I've, like, always found a way to realize that it's like, you know, if people really have a problem with me, I know that deep down there's something going on in that person's life, because what I'm doing is not hurting anyone. Like, I'm not hurting anyone with my skateboarding, with my actions, with what I'm doing, So there's always this, like, internal problem that someone else is facing, that, like, I'm the easiest target to lash out at. And so, like, there was, like, a realization that, okay, that's fine. And so for me, when I'm, like, need to push through these boundaries, it doesn't become about skate. It becomes about my mental. And so for this last trick, like, I knew I could do it. That wasn't the problem. The problem was every other aspect. Once I put my tail on the top of this ledge and I'm looking down, I could not get myself to trust the fact that I could roll away. I believed I could, but I didn't trust it. And so that's why it took so long. It took so long, and it took so much visualization of, like, I can do it, man. Like, I can do it. I know I can. And I pray a lot. And so, like, I never heard in my prayers that, like, this is not possible. It just kept being wait, just wait. And I'm like, man, all right, Lord, like, I know this thing hurts, but, like, I'll listen, like, I'll listen, and I'll wait, and I'll just keep trying. And I finally landed it, dude. And it really, like, it was more of an achievement of perseverance than actually landing the trick. It was proving to myself that I could overcome a battle, a 3-year long battle, if I stayed focused and kept Christ first, which I did. And I rolled away. So, I mean, life is a test, absolutely everything about life is a test. And you have the choice. Like, you have the choice to give up when things get tough, and then you kind of miss the reward on the other side of that work, or you push through it. A lot of times at the other side of that trial is something great that you don't even know it's there.
You are a story of perseverance, obviously beyond this trick. You alluded to it too. Like, it's not just the story of making sure that you're pushing past, the hurdles in this moment, but that, you've been pushing past hurdles for a long time. And I
Yeah.
know, like, I know your child stardom, that's an overwhelming thing for a lot of people to deal with. I know it specifically hit you pretty hard at a certain point. So, when you were maybe at that peak and your fame was getting a little out of control, were you aware and of what was going on, or did it take, was it a while before you realized sort of what you were getting caught up into?
Yeah, it kind of took a while, because you get caught up in the sin of things. And like for me, it was like it was an escape, but it was like kind of fun. I'm hanging out with all these like super famous people that like really like skateboarding. And so like I felt a part of this kind of like crew that was like, musicians and a couple actors and Bieber and all these dudes that like actually like skateboarding. So like I didn't have to like prove that I belonged in that circle. Like I was in that circle, and um the drinking became excessive. And at first I attributed drinking to like fun, and it was like cool, and we're going out and we're getting tables, and I'm hosting all my friends. And there was like a drastic point though around like 23 or 24 where I was just like, man, I'm not happy, and I actually don't know who I am. I've grown up in some sort of this like spotlight since I was like 8 years old, and never really hung out with kids my age. I was always traveling with adults, so I was always witnessing adult behavior. And to me, it's like, and obviously I had a chaperone, like my mom was on trips with me. And so like up until 18, I was pretty straight laced because I wanted to win. I loved skateboarding so much that I wanted to win. But like once I became, 18 and kind of doing my own thing and got a house, I was able to like experiment a little bit. And I'm an all or nothing type of guy. It's the reason I skate the way I do. I don't have like a medium speed. I have either I'm not doing it or I'm 100% in. And so with drinking, it just kind of it just took me, and it started slow and then it got worse real quick. And yeah, I think that was my main hindrance was that, instead of going on trips to like think about what skateboarding I wanted to do, I was thinking about what bar or what club was in that, that state or country that I was going to. And it just took away from my passion. And to go back to the beginning of your question, like it took my passion away. There's the one thing that I've really enjoyed my whole life and I've been okay at is skateboarding. And alcohol made me second guess that, and actually made me want to give it all away and like not do it anymore. So alcohol is really powerful. It's deceiving, it's baffling. And I'm very, very thankful and very blessed that, I'm coming up on 3.5 years sober. And in that 3.5 years, like my whole life has completely changed. And I had about a sobriety before that, but I wasn't really running a program. I wasn't trusting it. And that caused me to go back out again when I was around 30 years old. And I got a handle on it though, and life's all right.
I so appreciate you being able to open up on that so much because yeah, I mean, I just think that you're someone who watch when you watch this film, when you watch what you're able to put on tape now and still accomplish and still be able to live out your dream and do what you're passionate about. It's very inspiring to be able to watch that, but also to hear you speak so openly about the thing that a lot of people my age, I'm 32, I think we're almost the same age, like
Yeah.
I grew up watching you live a life that a lot of us wanted to live, and being able to hear you speak about the downside, but not just the downside, but the upside on the other side too is very inspirational.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, and like I'm not glorifying the drinking lifestyle, but I'm also not going to tell you that there wasn't any point of that period that I didn't have fun. Like could I have had fun sober during that time? Absolutely. I could have done the whole thing sober. I didn't know any better, I didn't have anyone telling me that like, hey, you might like want to chill out, until it was a little bit too late. But um, I say that loosely because it wasn't too late. I figured it out with a lot of help from a lot of people that love me and care about me and like were concerned. And were concerned about my well-being, not the party ending for them. They were concerned about me actually as a person. And that concern and that love actually allowed me to figure out who Ryan was and be okay with Ryan as the person instead of, this skateboarding guy. Like my whole identity was wrapped up in like skateboarding, the show. This is what I'm supposed to be. So I almost had two like personalities, the guy that was on camera and then the guy that was off camera that, was able to do kind of what I thought I wanted to do. But Yeah, I mean, dude, life's a journey. It's an absolute journey. And, you know, without Christ, without Jesus, like actually surrendering, without me actually surrendering and being like, all right, Lord, like I know you're real. I know you have a plan for me. Like I surrender. Please show me what to do. And then, bro, he continues to show me what to do. And I couldn't be more thankful. Saved my life again, you know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The show is an interesting element to this as well
Yeah.
because you know, not only are you you know, you've got all the talent in the world and you're this star for a discernible reason, but you're also going through the reality TV boom of that
Yeah.
era where people's lives are on camera. I mean,
Yeah.
right after the hills, it's this prime time slot. Is that sort of a moment you look back on fondly or with regret now?
Nah, there's no regret. There's no regret at all. It's like uh it was a phase. It was a phase of my life, you know, and it's crazy to think about it. It's like people actually had to like sit down at home on a Friday night at 10 o'clock to watch these episodes, you know, and there was no social media. I mean, there might have been like Facebook or and MySpace. Like I don't even remember what social media wasn't a thing, you know. So like we got all those views and all the likes um, in real time, and so that was a trip, you know, and it was a trip to be. It was a trip to be on TV. It was a trip to have my friends on TV. Like it felt cool. It felt cool at the time. I was 17 years old, you know, like that's what I thought I wanted. And um, I'd be lying if I said it didn't help my career. I still have people that follow what I'm doing from MTV days. And, you know, that was years and years and years ago. And it is what it is. It was a part of my life. It doesn't depict what my life is today. I don't even actually know that kid anymore because some of my, some of the tone and the way I talk to people, like, oh man, like I actually get a little bit of like, I can't watch it, put it that way. Like I can't go back and watch Life of Ryan. It's too gnarly for me. But it happened and I'm okay with it. I don't regret it though. That's for sure.
That is certainly good to hear. You know, around that time, maybe even a little before that, I love asking this question. It's a little bit silly, but I love the reactions that I get when I ask this to people who have been lucky enough to be in a video game
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
You are in you know, you're in Tony Hawk games. You know, do you remember when you first became a playable character, and do you choose yourself? Do you play as yourself, or was that too weird for you? Were you like, I'm in a
No,
reality show, I can't be a video game too?
no, you know, I think it was like a Tony Hawk, like Wasteland 2,
Mhm.
maybe, or something. I'm not sure which one it was. But no, I would always play with Jeff Rowley, and my buddies would play with me, and they would just make me fall and like just destroy me, and like they thought it was super funny. I thought it was funny too. It's like it's one of those things where it didn't feel foreign to me at that point because I had already been doing so much stuff and I had already been like, on TV and in a movie with The Rock and like doing like I was just like it wasn't like a foreign thing to me. But now when I look back at it, I'm like, man, that's actually crazy. Like how cool, what a blessing to have been, I guess, part of history in a sense of a skateboarding video game that actually made billions of dollars. And I didn't see any of that money, but it was like it was cool to be a part of that and to be acknowledged as a top pro skateboarder in those days, and then to still be skating today. And then obviously in the documentary, like having Tony Hawk talk about my skateboarding and talk about his skateboarding, and to be friends with the top pros in the world and like actually have a relationship with them is cool. Skateboarding is my life. It's just this is what I do, and this is where I'm at.
I also read that Tony Hawk attended your sixth birthday party. Is
Yeah.
How did that come to pass, and how much fun was Tony Hawk able to have at a child's birthday party?
I mean, he was able to have a blast because he brought everyone that he was skating with back in those days, and so it wasn't really like he was coming and put on a birthday hat and like walking around like a clown. He like showed
Yeah.
up to skate. Like it just worked out so perfectly that he was going to YMCA down in Encinitas to like go skate and go practice, and my dad had somehow figured out how to get in touch with him through email and asked him if he would come to our birthday. And Tony was funny. He's always been super funny, dude. And he's like, yeah, I'll come for chocolate cake. And I think it was like $500. Like we got Tony to do an appearance fee for $500, which is crazy. I don't even want to know what his appearance fee is nowadays, but like we got him for 500 and a piece of chocolate cake, and he came and he blew everyone's mind, and he spent time with us and he dropped in with us and he skated with us, and it was super cool. And as a 6-year-old, and my brother Shane was 4, it was a life-changing experience. And then like I kept skating and I kept skating and I kept trying to get better. I was motivated, and I got invited to do a couple demos with Tony when I was like 8 and 9, and then I stayed in contact with Tony, and then I did the secret skate park tour with him. And I think shortly after that, I was, doing the motion cap down at Activision, and all of a sudden I was part of a video game. And we've been in contact ever since. We've pretty much been in contact since I was 6 years old, and that's a really cool part about Tony. He's super involved. He is skateboarding. He's a huge, huge advocate for skateboarding and skateboarders. And Tony really did allow and make a movement for skateboarders to make millions of dollars, for sure.
Well, that story surpassed all my expectations. So thank you for that. That was
Yeah,
even
man.
cooler. That was even cooler than I thought it would be. And Tony is skateboarding. You are too, Ryan Sheckler. I really appreciate you taking so much time to talk to me about this. If fans could take one thing away from this documentary when they watch it, what would you want that to be?
I don't know, man. Just the passion I have for the craft. Um, not really just the tricks, just the passion I have for the lifestyle of skateboarding. It's a lifestyle sport, whatever you want to call it. Um, but my world revolves around it. So, God willing, I will never have to stop.
That means everything, and that says it all. Ryan, I appreciate you taking the time, and have a great rest of your day. And thanks so much for everything and all that you do.
Yeah, no worries, brother. I'll see you soon. Thank you.